What's one word you would use to describe the greens at Wingfoot?
Treacherous.
Treacherous would be a pretty reasonable word. Scary. Beautiful and scary.
What makes them so scary?
They're very severely pitched. I mean, the first green at Wingfoot might be the hardest first green in the world. That and Augusta would have a fight for it. I mean, I guess Oakmont's in there too. But like the first green at Wingfoot lets you really know, it's a very basic, simple hole, but it lets you know straight away that you cannot miss this course in the wrong spot or you're not having any fun today at all. Like it's a crazy green. It looks like a homemade thing that you gave two kids a pile of dirt and a tractor, but it just looks so unbelievably cool. And it just goes from there. Very back to front greens. You've got to be short and they're tilted and wavy. Like nuts. Beautiful greens. Incredible. If you miss it the wrong spot, death. Over. Like no chance of getting up and down. Which is the hallmark of all the great greens, right?
What's the green that when you go there, you just marvel at and can't stop staring at?
A lot of the greens, you look at the interior slopes, and they're all just amazing. I think 18 is the one that just sets in its position now with the restored false front. I mean, you've got like about an 8-foot elevation change that's all now false front, which has been restored. And Tillinghast talked about basically using the 18th green on the west and the 18th green on the east as the entryway to the clubhouse, and literally stair-stepping like you're walking upstairs. So you look at the false fronts, the big false fronts on both of those 18th greens, and the way that they approach the clubhouse. So I think 18 West is probably one of the most impressive.
18, what a green 18 is. Oh my goodness. 18 green at Wingfoot is like, you'd build it today and people would be like, really? Wow, that's aggressive. What are you doing? It's brilliant. It's fantastic. Obviously one of my favorite areas.
The other part of the greens there, they all sit up out of the ground, and the horizon lines that are created. And I think the restoration of the horizon line on 14 is really one of the more beautiful pieces of work that I've ever seen an architect do. Just how it sets there and there's nothing behind it because 15 falls away behind it. And now with the restored false front that Tillinghast had, it really feels like nothing short and nothing long. And so that just getting that yardage right it's a pretty impressive shot to have to hit.
10 is scary, I think. Hitting the shot because the green's up in the air and missing it looks really bad. And it's a beautiful looking hole and it's such a nice part of your day to kind of finish 9, walk between the clubhouse and 18 green or whatever it is and stand and see instead of wave to the pro shop and hit your shot in the 10. I like that. That area at Wingfoot is like why golf is great, club golf. I love 15. I think 15 is a great green. I love the hole. It's quite very dramatic. I had a great putt there on Sunday from about 30 feet, I think, in 06. The great thing about Wingfoot is they're all obviously Wingfoot greens, but they're all quite different. There's a lot of variety. It's not just the first green kind of shows you everything that you're going to see at Wingfoot. And then for the next 17 holes, you see there's bits of that. They've got these things, those old school greens. You get to modern greens and there's just the slopes are always similar kind of curves, and that Wingfoot's got some really steep edges and some bunkers that are like, wow, it just goes bang, step in it. But then it's gentle off the other side. Stuff that they wouldn't build it like that now. I don't know whether you can or they just don't. They're just a bit more random, but naturally so, Just this really random stuff with odd little corners and shapes and it's a collection of 18 greens that are obviously all very related, but all quite different.
How hard is it to play into those greens out of the rough?
Well, 06 was the first time we had graduated. That Mike Davis had done the kind of the 3-inch stuff and then the 6-inch stuff, whatever it was. And the 3-inch stuff, it was okay. They're not wide openings at the front, and a lot of them from rough, you're usually having to go over some sort of bunker edge or corner. So they weren't easy to hit out of the rough, but you could get it. That week I managed to massage it well enough to kind of get it up there where I could get it up and down. I guess the best, and this story's been told 1,000 times, but the best thing to anyone who's never seen Wingfoot's greens, when Billy Casper laid up on a par 3 4 times, he laid up on the third 4 times in the tournament because he thought laying up was smarter than attempting to hit the green and maybe missing it, and won the tournament. That's what Wingfoot can do to you. It makes you so fearful and scared that you play a par 3 as a par 4. Well, the best player in the world who won the tournament played a par 3 as a par 4. Crazy.
Talk about rebuilding the greens and getting the expansions out and what it brings to this U.S. Open versus U.S. Opens of the past?
In most of the greens, we've restored some really interesting hole locations, and with the slopes in those greens, I think those are going to be prized possessions for the USGA and during setup, and to have a little bit more flexibility. I think that some of the edge hole locations that have been restored are really exciting. One of the more interesting aspects is, when Geoff Ogilvy chipped in 2006 from off the green on 17, that area is actually in the green now. So that shot would have never been possible. He would have actually seen his ball take that slope and feed its way back down to the green in the approach shot, or back down to the hole. Part of what we did and restored it at Winged Foot was the opportunity for recovery, to use some of these big, bold slopes in the surrounds, so golfers who are intuitive and paying attention, if they get themselves out of position, can actually feed balls off of these slopes. And Neil Regan, the club historian who was with us side by side on all of the restorations, is we referred to him as the green whisperer out there. He was amazing, the intuition he had as to where the expansions would be and how things worked. He actually looked at some of the downhill putts that you can putt to the side of the green and use these sideboards that have now been restored to take some of the momentum off the ball and then let it slow and trickle back. So I think there's going to be a lot more creative putting, a lot more interest from a recovery standpoint. And you might even get the odd, which Winged Foot, if it gives up a really good break, that's okay occasionally, because there's a lot of difficulty out there. I think the only time we ever see it is at Augusta National, where they look for side slopes to use to work balls off of, and I think we'll see a lot more of that type of creativity with the restored greens.
Around the green doubles are always in play there.
Always. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, that's the hallmark of all the great courses, really. They let you get to the green, but they don't let you get off the green too easy. You know what I mean? Royal Melbourne, Augusta, a lot of these places, Sanders, you can get your way around. And Winged Foot too, set up out of a US Open, you could get it around there reasonably well. But getting it in the hole, that's a different story. That exemplifies that more than almost anywhere Winged Foot. You got to be really, really good from inside 100 here.